cowboy casserole for breakfast.
Cowboy everything out here, I guess. Oh, there's a hawk that's hunting and is gathering. Just pulled off, starting to snow again. And as I was riding by, it looked like this really cool, tiny part of the stream with a lot of fallen over trees and moss, and kind of one of those areas that I've never been able to explore because you always drive by. But riding around on the bike kind of gives me a bit of a different perspective, and I'm already out here. So I figure, oh, I'll just park the bike and walk right over here. And yeah, this looks like a really cool spot. Maybe capture some cool little long exposures here of the stream. The bigger areas, you lose some of that color, especially now during the winter, but there's a lot of green right here. I really enjoy the shapes. It's kind of like a mini horseshoe bend, just a tiny North Carolina version. But I really like how the water is coming to us. It bends around, and then you have these moss-covered trees just all fallen in this one spot. I'm gonna take some regular photos, and then I'm gonna try with the filter on and maybe see a long exposure. Might make things a little more interesting, but I moved around to find a nice composition, and while I don't mind the photos that weren't long exposures, the water just seems really distracting. With the long exposures, the water smoothens out and you can really focus on the logs, the colors, and the interesting shapes, which kind of drew me in the first place. I've never actually thought about shooting downstream, just because usually looking up you see all the cascades, but I'm gonna try. It turned out okay. Not the best shot, but that's still cool. You know what is cool though is standing on this rock in the middle of the stream. That's freaking sweet. Wow, this is look at this stream. I can't believe I've never fished this. That pool up there is insane. Kind of a little trick I like to tell people about, like if you're out in the woods and you're trying to get cool shots, sort of like vibe shots, you want to put a little reel together and showcase like the area that you visited today, stuff like that. There's a little technique that you can do even just with your phone. You don't have to have a nice camera. Let me show you how it's done. First and foremost, what most people do is they stand here and they pan like this. Like, check out this spot. We don't want to do that. Get something in the foreground, usually, especially if it's wide, like this tree, for example. And we're going to we're gonna hide behind this tree, and we're going to shift like this sideways and reveal the scene behind. We're not gonna pan, none of this, zero this, okay? I'm gonna move the camera. You're just gonna see my movement here. Ready? I know this is ridiculous, but I'm leaning to my left here so that I can shift all my weight to my right leg, okay? So I'm gonna film, we're gonna go like this, hit record, boom, shift. Just nice and easy like that. And notice I didn't do this as I was moving. I didn't do this, any of that. I just left my arms still and my camera, and I shifted all my weight like that. Even with just a phone, and they're pretty good nowadays, you can get really cool shots. So I'm gonna take like 3 shots right now, put a little vibe piece together with this phone, and this is how it turned out. All right, we're back in camp. Pops, he's been holding down the fort, and he's got some cowboy coffee. Perkin.
Yes.
So we're
Especially
gonna.
with gusty wind like this. Oh.
Yeah, it's been windy. So down from here at camp we're high, but when down at the stream I'm like down there. So it's way darker and there's no wind really. But up here it just gusts. I mean, we had to take. You guys saw earlier when it was snowing. We actually had to take the tent down, or the tarp, because it broke 2 of our poles first of all. So this is my new Himiway D5. I am super pumped to add this to the repertoire. Today we're using it to get to and from camp instead of having to take the truck. This is something that I've been very excited about because in a state park like this, there are so many little spots that I've never been able to check out just because I can't pull the truck off. But if I leave the truck in camp and I take the bike into the park, I can go wherever the heck I want. That has me really excited to have this, and so far it's been really freaking fun to ride. So today was probably the most fun I've had doing photography in a long time, just because I was zooming around on this thing and then all I had to do was step off and start taking photos. So that's really cool. If you guys are interested in picking one up, I'll put a link in the description below. I do get a small kickback if you do make a purchase at no additional cost to you, of course. I also do want to just clarify, you know, I've only had the bike for about 2.5 weeks. So my opinion on it so far is purely based on that 2.5 week time, riding it around town and also throughout the state park this weekend. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Gonna warm up. It's gonna be chilly tonight, down in the 20s. The sunset past the mountain there and we can already feel it dropping. For dinner, Pops cooked up some T-bone steaks in the cast iron skillet. The temperature dropped to about 27 degrees and we couldn't really feel our fingers while eating, but the steaks sure felt good in our bellies. We spent the rest of the evening telling stories and staying warm by the fire. All right, so it's morning and brought out the big lens, but there's a hawk that's hunting and just gathering, and I'm gonna try to see if I can get some shots of him before we have breakfast.
Cowboy casserole for breakfast.
It's cowboy everything out here, I guess. There is a huge pool. I have never seen that before. Look at this. Just this looks almost like a giant water slide. I think I'm gonna walk down there and look back up. I bet that looks so cool, but it's a nice little spot right in the shadow of Stone Mountain right there. You can just see it. Now that there's no foliage in the forest right now, not really anyways, you can actually see it. Usually you can't because there's so much green. Oh yeah. This is like a swimming pool. For years I've been coming here, I had no idea this was here. See if we can do some long exposures of this. I want to call it a waterfall, but really I want to call it a slip and slide. Oh, okay. There we go. So after bushwhacking a little bit and finding my way on the other side of that giant pool, we finally got set up looking straight down the center of that slip and slide. The biggest challenge for me here was the sunlight off in the distance. The trees were overexposed. Meanwhile, it's pretty dark down here on the stream. The shots turned out cool, but I think coming to this spot earlier would have been more ideal. Alright, so we pulled up to this nice pool, kind of a little beach here, and the water is so calm and it's green and the light's kind of shining through past the mountain. So relaxing. Sometimes, I pull up to a spot and I just want to be productive. And then I find a little spot like this. And it's like, I think I just might sit here and just enjoy the calmness. This is really pretty. The sun is just hitting the rocks perfectly. There's that sort of sparkle along the moss on the rocks just above. I think we can get a couple of cool shots here. This is too cool. It's like perfect lighting. Dark green. It's kind of one of those spots where you just want to bust out a book. As I pondered around this last little nook, I took time to reflect on conversations with my dad, Epictetus, as well as my goals for the year. I think, to put it simply, I want to focus on a phrase my dad and I throw around frequently: do hard stuff. Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius teach us about how hard things are designed for growth, revealing character and building virtues like courage and endurance. As the new year kicks off, that feels like a great way to keep my compass pointed in the right direction.